my question is really around, the current crisis, Sadhguru, has exposed, the socio-economic inequalities, that exist around the world, not only in India, very drastically. And this has required governments and, philanthropic organizations to step up significantly. India, as a country, the richest 1% of Indians walk away with 73% of the country's wealth. And about, on the other hand, 67 crore Indians saw their wealth grow only by 1% last year. So, what is really your vision for us to be able to build an equitable, inclusive India? And how do we reimagine the India? And how do we get there?
Over 70% of the world's investment is in just 32 cities. People are just piling up into these cities. In India, I don't have the numbers, but as you said, 73% of the wealth is in the hands of 1%. I'm sure that 1% is definitely in the cities, not in the village. This is pre-virus that we were facing was that it was expected by 2030, 1.6 billion people will migrate on this planet. See, migration, I think in India, I think we have had a little picture. That is not the whole picture. When people migrate in hostile circumstances, it's very different. A little picture, what kind of suffering it will bring to people when they migrate in an unplanned way. The migrant labor issue that you saw in India is a reverse migration, they're going back home. That is not that bad, I'm telling you. When individual people drag their families and go to an unknown place, not knowing what will happen to them, with… especially for women and children, what happens to them, the level of degradation that happens, the level of inhuman ways that, inhuman situations that they will have to face. Many of those people who are living in filth in Mumbai city, probably they lived on a small piece of land with some dignity somewhere. Maybe they were very poor, they wore tatters, they were not well nourished, but they lived with some sense of dignity. But now they came here because here there is a pile-up of wealth, so they came here to nibble at it a little bit. But look at the conditions in which they're living. This migration in India was expected that by 2030, we would have 220 million people migrating to urban centers. 220 million people, if you distribute them among 10, 15 cities of India, can you imagine what will be the condition of your city? Nearly 70–80% will be living in slums, and you think whatever wealth you have, whatever well-being you have, you think it's safe, and is it even worth living like that? Because if you want to live well, everybody around us should be living well, otherwise how do you live well? You can't just live in just a tower of your own wealth and say, I am well. You cannot live like that. You have to see everybody around you is doing well, then only there is real well-being for a society, that's when you can enjoy your well-being. So, the investment is piled up in one or two places, this is why this is happening. This virus is a very good thing in this sense. I'm not saying it's a good thing in terms of loss of life and loss of economy and all this. One thing is reverse migration is happening. Those who've gone back to villages, in my estimate, more than 80% of them will not come back at least till Diwali. If this virus threat continues, let us say September, October, November, then they won't come back for a minimum of 1 or 1.5 years. So you can't really kickstart your economy as business as usual. You will have to innovate yourself in a completely different way. Another thing for the government to do is, which it is now beginning to do, investing in the migrant labor, not just giving them out doles as right now because of emergency they're doing that, but the important thing is to invest and spread the investment in the villages. Industry needs to think from mass production to production by the masses, how we can produce the same things in that village, how it can be done without building massive infrastructure everywhere. How can we do it? All you have to focus on is quality control. Production, you just need training. Training process and quality control should become more important than having a prison-like industry. A factory is a prison. Once you get in, you can't get out for that many hours. So these prison-like production centers must go and productivity has to happen in a different atmosphere. For this, we have to invest immensely on training. Training and skill development we have to invest. Right now, only government is talking about skill development. Industry is normally trying to mop up people who have skills. That's not the way forward. If we want to build a strong economy, we have to invest. I'm saying, when I say we have to invest, not picking up an 18-year-old and trying to train him. I'm saying you have to invest much further down. Why is it that you are not investing in the schools? Because the school is clerical, it doesn't produce any skills. So we have to liberate the education system, and industry and business should be able to run. Some basics we can set. Education means what are the basics that everybody must have. The rest of it must be by option, according to employment requirements, according to industrial requirements. And we need to build the people, skillful people, and then quality control. In between, production can happen in much looser atmosphere. Well, when we get into nitty-gritty of how exactly to produce something, there may be many issues, but we can sort that out. But in principle, we have to move from mass production to production by masses. Right now, agricultural activity, nearly 500 million people in this country. Agricultural activity, to grow 2 successful crops, if you organize irrigation and security of his land with digital surveys and everything, so that there is no ambiguity about which is my land, which is your land. If this is fixed, irrigation systems are integrated, if this happens, if someone goes to the field about 60 to 65 days in a year, he can grow 2 crops successfully. So remaining 300 days, what is he doing? He is going and hanging around there to prove this is my land, this is my land, this is my land. This is just a crude way of managing human resource. We are not managing human potential properly, we are just letting 500 million people just sit around doing inane things simply because a few basic things we are not fixing. Land survey and irrigation systems, integration of irrigation systems, if you do this, you will see 500 million people, that is 1 billion hands you will release for 300 days in a year. That's a revolution. We need to do that. Industry and business should take this up of training. I'm saying, why can't business come together now and take a representation to the Prime Minister, sit with him, and this is what we want, otherwise there is no way forward, all right? There's really no way forward without a skilled population. Whether that skill will come to me or to you later, it doesn't matter, but an ecosystem of skill is needed for all of us to evolve our businesses and the economy of this nation, and in many ways to contribute to the well-being of the world. If we don't do this now, when still we have a youthful population, if we don't do this now, well, we will lose the advantage.